Look what I just found on my car. Tucked in right here.
So last night I got this interesting notification. I was being informed that there has been an AirTag that has been following me since 5 o'clock. It didn't tell me till like 11:30, but you know, here is it tracking me. That's my house. There's me probably going to the gym. I have no idea who could have done this.
I was just driving, minding my own business, and all of a sudden I get this notification. AirTag detected near you. So I pull over right away, I click play sound, and after like 20 minutes of looking, I see it tucked underneath my front bumper. This thing has everywhere that I've been in the past 2 days.
And I continued driving home because I didn't think it was too serious. I get home, I click on the notification that it was following me.
When I was in Europe, I was informed that someone had been tracking me for the past 3 hours.
We've started to notice a new trend emerging in the auto theft industry, and it's these devices, they're like tagging devices.
So in the month of December 2021, the York Regional Police Department in Toronto, Canada, issued a statement called Vehicle Theft Warning and Prevention Tips.
GPS and Bluetooth technology, and they're using that to install on different vehicles that they're looking to steal. And then by using an iPhone, they can always tell where the vehicle's location is, and then they can almost wait and you know, commit the theft on their watch, maybe later on in the at night, and it just always gives them, you know, the location of where that vehicle is being stored at the time.
There is a new method being used by thieves to track high-end vehicles. They install trackers known as Airtags in the vehicles and track them to the owner's home, and later stole the vehicles from their parking lots or from their driveways. Then over in Detroit, we have a man named John Nelson who had just acquired a 2018 Dodge Charger. Now, for those of you who don't know what a Dodge Charger is, it's a super muscle car. That's when he received a notification on his phone that he was being tracked by an AirTag. So he had to look for where the AirTag was hidden on his car, and eventually found out that it was hidden under the bumper of his car. Over in New York, Brooks Nader is a professional model.
Okay, so I'm going to tell the story about what happened last night.
She went out one evening to the bar or to a local bar to hang out with her friends. And while at the bar, she took off her jacket, put it behind her seat or hung it behind her seat, and she went on with the evening as usual.
I had my coat like on the chair behind me, alone, because I live in the neighborhood around like 11:30 p.m. And once I was already on my walk home, halfway home, I got the notification that was like, someone's tracking you and has been for a while.
Later, when she was on her way home around 11:30 p.m. walking alone on a quiet street, she said she got an alert on her phone that said someone is tracking you and has been for a while, which felt really creepy at 11:30 p.m. on a lonely street. It was later discovered that someone had slipped an Apple Airtag into her jacket while at the bar. And prior to that moment, she had never heard about AirTags or what AirTags were, so she had to run for help. These thieves or stalkers will usually hide the tiny coin-sized AirTags in tow hitches, gas caps, bumpers, and even under the car where it might be difficult to find. AirTags can easily be slipped into your backpack, jacket pocket, like in the case of Brooks Nader, and so on. And to even take it one step further, police departments all over Canada and the US are releasing guidelines and safety tips on how to stay safe and keep yourself from being tracked by an Apple Airtag. Even though Apple has been releasing updates and trying to keep the AirTag safe or to make it safer to use, there are just some things that updates can't fix. So how are these criminals able to use these AirTags in sinister ways? Let me explain to you. First of all, for those of you who might not know about AirTags, an AirTag is a small coin-sized disc-shaped tracking device that Apple released in April 2021. This device is supposed to help you track your missing items. So the idea of AirTags was this. Let's say you always misplace your car keys, or you have pets or other stuff like that you would love to always know their location. Now you could attach an AirTag to your car keys, and every time you misplace your car key or at home or wherever, you just bring out your phone, open the Find My app on your iPhone, and then it will point you to the exact location where your device is, or where the missing item is, your pet or whatever. So the AirTags were really easy to use. A lot of people find them really useful. They could attach them to their dogs. They could attach them to their car keys. Some people even attach them to their cars just to know in case somebody steals the car and all that. But it turns out AirTags are yielding the opposite results, or they are being misused from the way that Apple intended for these devices to be used. Now, when a lot of people like myself first heard about Apple Airtags, a million questions popped up in my head about how thieves and sons of anarchy could use Airtags for bad things. What if someone decided to use an Airtag to track someone instead of a missing item? Apple clearly thought about these things too. So at launch, they outlined a lot of safety tips that could help deter stalkers and unwanted tracking. Like an Airtag will trigger an alarm if it's accompanying someone that is not its owner. The alert will appear on the victim's phone, and the Airtag itself will also play a loud beep to tell you where it's planted. But the issue is that this alert will only happen between 8 to 24 hours after the Airtag has been following someone that is not its owner. And this gives anybody that wants to do anything a lot of time to do whatever they want to do before the alarm goes off on the Airtag or before the Find My app on your iPhone alerts you that an unknown Airtag is following you. Jeffrey Fowler of the Washington Post put this very feature to the test when he had a colleague put his Airtag into his backpack. He traveled for about 3 weeks across San Francisco with the Airtag. Yes, his iPhone did alert him that an Airtag was following him, but it took about 3 days before the Airtag played an alarm. Another problem with this safety feature is that an Airtag will not trigger any of these features if it reconnects to the stalker's iPhone before the 8-hour window. So let's say your partner plants an Airtag on you, and then you go out and spend maybe 5 hours or 6 hours or even 7 hours, then you return back home. The alarm on your Airtag will not beep because it is not up to 8 hours. And let's be honest with ourselves, 7 hours is a lot of time for anybody to do whatever they want to do, tracking you and all that. So an abusive partner can slip an Airtag into the victim's car or pocket or whatever, and then the victim will go out and spend a lot of time. As soon as they come back to the house and the Airtag is within the range of its owner or the iPhone that is originally connected to, the Airtag, the 8-hour window time will reset. And sometimes it even takes more than 8 hours before this alarm goes off. Remember, Apple said it's between 8 to 24 hours. So it could take as well as 19 hours to 20 hours before you will get an alert that an Airtag is following you or you are being tracked. Now, it even gets worse if you are an Android user. Fine, Apple has said that they've released an app for Android users called Tracker Detect, which works with Airtags. The problem with this is that we know how Android devices have been with Apple devices. Like, the synchronization has been very, very terrible over the years. And to make it worse, unlike an iPhone user, an Android user will have to manually download the Tracker Detect app into their iPhone. To even make it more worse, the Tracker Detect app does not automatically scan for Airtags like your iPhone will do. You will have to go into the app and scan manually for Airtags before it will scan if there is any Airtag around you. So what of those Android users that don't have an Airtag or don't even want to download the Tracker Detect app because they don't have any business with Airtags? That's even worse for them. Those ones can be tracked. You can track an Android user comfortably with an Airtag without any issues because their phone cannot alert them. And it might be difficult for somebody to just sit down and bring out his phone and start scanning for Airtags. To even take it one step further, they're even selling modified Airtags on eBay. The speakers of these modified Airtags have been removed. So if you're an Android user, you won't even know when someone is tracking you. The speaker has either been muffled or removed. Now, shortly after the Apple Airtags were released, a German security researcher known as Taxmashing was able to modify the microcontroller inside an Airtag. He proved that it was possible to flash the microcontroller inside an Airtag to change how it physically functions. He posted a video on Twitter showing an Airtag with a modified NFC URL that, when scanned with an iPhone, shows a different custom URL that the programmer has set instead of the usual found.apple.com. Now, even though he wasn't able to do much after he modified the Airtag, that was in the early stages. Now, as time goes on, technology gets better. And so it means that hackers and programmers could spend a lot of time working on these Airtags and eventually modify them to do what they want them to do. So should you buy an Airtag? Well, I would say if you don't mind all the safety concerns that are being raised by the government and law enforcement and all the stories you've been hearing, genuine stories that you've been hearing about Airtags from other users, you should go ahead and get it. But if you're really concerned about your safety and stuff, you might want to stay away from Apple Airtags. So I made a video here on the channel showing you how Chinese scammers are scamming Apple of hundreds of iPhones. So you can click over here and go and watch that video too, alright? Until the next time, I'll catch you again in the next video.